Hammond about the chills and thrills that awaited them underneath the big top. As usual, there would be clowns, lions, elephants, and tightrope walkers for the crowds to see. At 10 a.m., the children of the town were out to get ready for the big arrival of the much-anticipated circus, but you see, there was no parade, no clowns, and no circus. On June 22nd, 1918, the time was around 4 a.m. Dawn was not yet painting the eastern sky. The Hagenbeck Wallace Circus was scheduled to present its fabulous spectacle in the show grounds in Hammond, Indiana, carrying 400 clowns, acrobats, riders, and roustabouts, all fast asleep. The train had to make a stop near Ivanhoe in order to cool an overheated wheel bearing box. The brakeman at the time would alert the conductor with a signal flare, thus signaling the engineer to bring the train to an immediate stop. The 26-car train now rested on railroad tracks coming from Michigan City, heading west into Hammond. Red lights were turned on also to warn any other approaching trains that a train had stopped on the tracks. An empty troop train, which was approaching at full speed from behind, piloted by engineer Alonzo Sargent, who had been previously fired for sleeping on the job. Ignoring all the red lights and frantic signalmen signaling an oncoming train, it plowed into the back of the circus train, destroying 3 sleeping cars before finally coming to a stop at the 4th. A fire then broke out due to the train being lit back then by kerosene lanterns. Survivors of the crash were trapped underneath wreckage, and they were unable to free themselves and escape the burning flames. An estimated 86 people died in the accident. Most of these people were roustabouts who were only known by their nicknames, and many joined recently. Hagenbeck Wallace Circus only missed one single performance, which was the one in Hammond. By the next day, they had borrowed enough acts from other circuses, including Barnum and Bailey and Ringling Brothers Circus, to be able to put on the scheduled show in Beloit, Wisconsin. As the news of the accident spread, the Showmans League of America acted. The league's officers once moved to provide a last resting place for all those crash victims. 5 days later, after the crash, the survivors gathered here at Woodlawn Cemetery for the burial of 56 of their fellows in a section owned by Showmans League of America, which also was purchased several months before the crash. Of the 56 performers, only 13 of the victims buried were identified. The names of the others were labeled Baldy or 4-horse driver. All of the others simply read unknown male followed by a number. Among the dead were Arthur Diericks and Max Nietzborg of the Great Diericks Brothers, which was a strongman act, and Jeannie Ward Todd of the Flying Ward Todds. The Flying Wards. Most of the half of Showman's plot contains victims of the 1918 wreck. The other half is used for burials of circus performers up to this present day. Years later, 5 elephant markers were placed at the corners of the rear center of the Showmans Rest plot. The elephants each have a foot raised with the ball underneath, and the trunks lowered, symbolizing mourning. The base of the large central elephant behind me here is inscribed with Showmans League of America. And of course, according to local legend, the elephants are there to commemorate the elephants killed in the wreck and buried in this section. In some versions, the elephants are said to have aided the rescuing of trapped performers by pulling away burning wreckage at the cost of their own lives. It's said that on some nights, the haunting cry of elephants can be heard in the distance, but in reality, there were no elephants on that circus train that day, and no animals were ever killed in that crash.